The ground trembles before anyone understands what is happening. Bowls rattle across tatami mats. Lanterns swing beneath wooden eaves. A deep crack splits the air, as if the earth itself were tearing apart. In seconds, houses collapse into one another. Walls slide. Roofs lift and vanish. Screams blend with the sharp sound of splintering wood. A mother tries to reach her son through the smoke. A merchant runs back for his account books. A samurai, still barefoot, grips his sword without knowing whom to fight. The Sumida River churns as if alive. Dust swallows the sky. Then the fire begins. Flames surge forward, driven by the wind. Entire streets become corridors of burning light. People crush together on narrow bridges. Some fall into the dark water. Others simply disappear beneath debris. And as Edo burns, a silent question hangs over the survivors. How could the most organized and vibrant city in Japan become so fragile in a matter of hours? It is the early 1700s. The city we now call Tokyo is still known as Edo, capital of the Tokugawa shogunate. It stands at the political heart of a nation closed to most of the outside world. There is no emperor ruling here in practice, only the shogun and his rigid system of control. The earthquake followed by devastating fires is not just a natural disaster, it is a brutal test of the civilization Japan has built after more than a century of enforced peace. The Edo period is defined by stability. After generations of warfare between rival clans, the Tokugawa regime imposed absolute order. Feudal lords were required to spend alternating years in Edo, leaving their families there as a guarantee of loyalty. The system secured obedience. It also produced something unexpected. Prosperity. Edo grows at a pace few cities in the world can match at the time. By the early 18th century, its population exceeds 1 million. It is among the largest cities on earth. Organized streets, specialized districts, vibrant markets. Artisans produce textiles, ceramics, and woodblock prints. Merchants accumulate wealth. Kabuki theater flourishes. Teahouses multiply. Urban culture takes on a life of its own. There is order, there is wealth, there is a sense of permanence. Yet this same density, this same prosperity, carries a silent vulnerability. Houses built of wood and paper stand tightly packed together. Warehouses are filled with rice, oil, and charcoal. Streets are narrow, bridges are crowded. A city designed to thrive and to burn. Long before the houses collapse, long before flames consume entire neighborhoods, the problem begins far beneath the islands of Japan. Tectonic plates press against one another in silence. The archipelago itself exists because of this constant tension. Energy accumulates for decades, sometimes centuries. On the surface, life continues as usual, busy, confident, secure. But deep below, pressure builds. When it is finally released, no wall can withstand it. No sword can defend against it. The earthquake does not choose by class. It strikes samurai districts and merchant quarters with the same indifference. The first major shock hits near Edo Castle, symbol of Tokugawa authority. The ground rolls, watchtowers crumble, guards attempt to coordinate evacuations, but chaos spreads faster than any official command. Within minutes, fires erupt across the city. Overturned kitchens, fallen lanterns, scattered embers. The wind transforms small sparks into towering walls of flame. Bridges over the Sumida become deadly bottlenecks. Crowds try to cross at once. Some structures give way under the weight. Boats are overloaded. The river, once a lifeline of commerce and connection, becomes a desperate escape route. District by district, the disaster advances. Nihonbashi, the commercial heart, watches entire warehouses swallowed by fire. In Asakusa, temples filled with worshipers turn into improvised shelters and then into traps. The flames do not distinguish between sacred and ordinary. The speed terrifies. The silence afterward is worse. Streets once crowded with vendors and apprentices are now blanketed in ash. The smell of burned wood and charred flesh lingers in the air. Bodies remain beneath rubble for days. Authorities struggle to respond. Fire brigades formed by neighborhood groups rush into action. Men tear down houses to create firebreaks. It is a common strategy in Edo. Destroy in order to save. But it does not always work. The wind shifts. The flames leap across the gaps. Monks lead collective prayers. Some believe the gods are punishing the city for moral excess. Others speak of spiritual imbalance. There are whispers blaming greedy merchants, immoral entertainers, Even distant foreigners, though almost none, are present in Japan at this time. Scientific understanding is limited. People know earthquakes happen, but not why. Some legends speak of a giant catfish thrashing beneath the islands, shaking the land with its movements. Between myth and reality, the population searches for meaning in the chaos. Meanwhile, the social fabric begins to tear. Families are separated. Orphaned children wander among the ruins. Looting breaks out in the hardest-hit areas. Trust the foundation of Tokugawa order weakens under the strain of scarcity. Contemporary accounts describe people abandoning injured relatives to save themselves. Merchants hiding rice stocks to sell later at higher prices. Samurai, once symbols of honor, competing for resources like anyone else. Fear breeds radicalization. Rumors spread that certain groups deliberately set fires. Itinerant workers, religious communities, and other minorities become targets of suspicion. The search for culprits offers a fragile illusion of control, yet the tragedy does not end at the city's edge. In rural regions, the consequences unfold more quietly. Roads are blocked by landslides. Harvests fail to reach urban markets. Peasants lose both buyers and protection. Some villages, already strained by heavy taxation, slip into silent collapse. Rice fields are left untended. Wooden homes decay without repair. Nature begins to reclaim spaces once filled with human life. Birdsong replaces the noise of trade. Weeks pass. The fires die out not because they are conquered, but because there is little left to burn. Aftershocks continue to rattle the city. Each tremor reignites panic. Reconstruction begins almost immediately. Edo has faced great fires before. Rising from ashes is not new. The shogunate mobilizes resources. New regulations are introduced. Streets are widened. Open spaces are planned as fire breaks. Slightly more resistant, materials are encouraged in certain districts, but something fundamental has shifted. The sense of invulnerability is gone. The city remains large and prosperous, yet it now carries the memory of collapse. Urban culture reflects this transformation. Artists depict earthquakes and infernos in woodblock prints. Poets write of impermanence. The Buddhist idea that all things are transient gains renewed resonance. Edo does not cease to be vibrant. On the contrary, its resilience becomes part of its identity. Yet the relationship with nature grows more cautious. The rigid order of the shogunate reveals clear limits when confronted by the forces of the earth. Throughout the 18th century, the city will continue to expand, but each new building stands beneath the shadow of memory. Every lit brazier on a cold night carries a trace of risk. What happened in Edo in the 1700s was more than a natural disaster. It was a mirror. It exposed the fragility hidden behind exemplary organization. It proved that political stability does not guarantee safety. It revealed how prosperity and vulnerability can grow from the same foundation. Today, when we look at modern Tokyo technological earthquake research prepared with advanced engineering, we see a direct heir to that experience. Flexible skyscrapers, early warning systems, constant drills. The past still whispers beneath the pavement. The question that rose among the flames of Edo remains with us. How prepared are we, truly? How many of our certainties rest upon invisible forces we barely understand? History is not only memory, it is warning. As we walk through the streets of any modern city, we might remember the lanterns that once swung, the bridges that collapsed, the voices lost in smoke, because understanding the present requires the courage to face the ruins of the past. I am only the voice walking through those ruins with you. And as long as there are eras left to explore, we will keep returning not to escape the present, but to understand it more deeply.